Hey guys, it's Cheers of Addison. Why did the Tin Man eat artichokes? Because he wanted a heart. So today we're going to be making spinach and artichoke filled garlic bread. And I saw this recipe and I had to make it because literally my two favorite things put together. The ingredients we're going to need is about 8 ounces of cream cheese, 4 tablespoons of butter, cup and a half of mozzarella, small handful of chives, we're going to chop those up, and about 5 to 10 cloves of garlic, and it kind of depends on how garlicky you want it. I like mine super garlicky. We have a 14-ounce can drained of artichoke hearts, about 10 ounces of baby spinach. It's the best. You can use regular spinach, but you might want to have to chop it a little bit, and just some parsley to add in on top. And finally, the baguette. Let's get cooking. So our first step is just going to be to roughly chop our artichoke hearts because this can't be stuffed into the bread. So let's just chop them up. No specific way. We're just going to go through giving them a nice chop until there's no big gigantic clumps. And this is going to be pretty simple. You're just going to kind of chop for probably about 3 to 5 minutes. As you can see, 10 ounces of spinach is a lot of spinach. But don't worry, it's going to wilt down and go perfectly into the bread. What I'm going to do is just heat my pan to a high to medium heat. I'm just going to add in about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of olive oil to make sure nothing is going to be burning. And you can use a nonstick pan. I'm just using a regular large saucepan. Once my oil started to heat up, I'm just going to start adding my spinach. And you don't want to add it all at one time because some of it's going to be wilted and then half of it's going to be not wilted. So you're going to kind of fill up the base of the pan. And using your hands, because it's not going to be too hot, and a spatula, you're just going to kind of mix it around. I'm just going to keep mixing this until I see that it's all nice and wilted. It's going to turn into a darker color and be much, much smaller. And then I'm just going to keep adding until it's all evenly wilted. My spinach is all done cooking and it looks all like this. It wilted down to a very small amount. And I'm just going to turn my heat down to low, the lowest heat it can be at. And I'm going to take my chopped artichokes and add them right in. And I'm just going to mix these together until they're combined and both warmed, and we don't want the artichokes to be completely cold and raw when we... So now I'm just going to let this simmer down on a medium to low heat for about 2 to 3 minutes, having a close eye on it because we don't want anything to burn. But when that's done, we're just going to place it in a small metal bowl. Like the floor looked like it needed a little bit of cleaning, so I was like, put some water on the floor too. Anyways, this is gonna go in a dry metal bowl when we're done. So it's looking pretty much done, so I'm just gonna place this in a metal bowl and then we'll move on to the next step. So as I was saying, I'm just gonna add in my chopped chives and my cream cheese. Currently, I have my cream cheese, my chives, my artichokes, and my spinach in my bowl. And now I'm going to add in about a cup and a half of mozzarella cheese. Make sure you get all of it. Key ingredient. And I'm just going to mix it all up. Time to finish prepping our bread. I've cut my baguette into 3 equal pieces. You can do 4 or 2, kind of depending on the size of your baguette. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out the insides of my bread. And I'm leaving a good rounded edge, but I'm going to do that throughout the whole entire piece with all 3 pieces. And I've just cut the very ends off my bread because it's really hard to get to. So I'm just going to finish pulling out the insides nice and even. Leaving a little bit at the end. Finish that off. Now that my bread's all hollowed out, I'm just going to take my filling, and don't be shy. I'm going to stuff it throughout the bread, giving it a super full coat. Our bread is nice and stuffed, and now we have to make our garlicky delicious topping. So I'm just going to chop up some parsley. And this is just going to give it a really good flavor and add a little bit of color. Make sure it's nice and chopped. You don't want big chunks of parsley all over the bread. Once it's down to a finer cut, we're not going to need all this. Just chop it up really nicely. Depending on the size of your baguette, the size of your cloves, and your preferences, you can do from 2 to 8 cloves of garlic. I have about 6 to 7 here. I didn't count it perfectly, but what we're going to do is mince this up and add it into our butter with our parsley. So now we're just going to add in our minced garlic. I'm just finishing up adding my minced garlic into my butter. And now I'm just going to take a pretty good pinch, my thumb and 3 fingers, about 2 pinches, and add that to my garlic as well. I'm going to mix that up. We're back with our bread, and now I'm just going to cut it into portion-sized pieces, which is about 1 inch thick. And you want your knife to be pretty sharp because you don't want to have to be sawing. So now we're just going to take our butter mixture, and do not be shy with this. You're just going to really want to slather it all over every piece. Make sure it's all covered. Getting both sides. Yum, yum, yum. Nice and garlicky. Slather it. Right here, it kind of looks like a paintbrush with like noodles coming off of it, but it's a kind of a pastry brush. You usually would use this to egg wash something, but it's a super, super helpful tool for this because you can pick things up with it because it's not too flimsy, but also it can really get it in every crack. I'm just gonna save some of this and probably gonna melt a little more butter into it for the end right when we take it out. And this is going to go into the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. But keep a close eye on it. It could be 25 or 35. Just keep a close eye on it. Now I'm just going to put it in the oven once again on my Blue Star oven, and I'll see you in 25 minutes. My garlic bread is all lathered up with some extra butter, and now it's all done, and this is perfect for a party, for an appetizer, a side, or really just for snacking on. And now that it's all done, I'm ready to go, and thank you for watching.